G'day members, just to bring you up to date where the EBA campaign is. Unfortunately we haven't been able to put out any written communication on a regular basis because our conversations within the Fair Work Commission are supposed to be kept confidential, and that limits us in what we can tell you, but we thought it was time that we should put out a further podcast and to give you some further ideas of where it's all at and what's happening, given that you haven't heard much at all. Firstly, we've had 10 meetings since Christmas with Ambulance Victoria, the Department of Health, before Senior Deputy President Greg Smith in the Fair Work Commission. In those 10 meetings, there has been some progress made, and which is good, even though it's quite slow, and the members may not see that there's been any progress made, but we can assure you there has. And I suppose generally how I can describe that to you is this. You'll remember the offer that the government and Ambulance Victoria made back in November, which was $1,500 upfront payment, sign on, 6, 3 and 3 over 3 years, a work value case with some conditions attached. And you'll remember what those conditions were. The rolled in rate issue, the mill management issue, statewide reserve or relieving model, reduction in overtime rates for part-time employees, greater utilisation of ACOs, performance appraisals for all employees. Those were some of the things that were on the table in regard to being conditional for a work value case to commence. Of course, the union rejected that offer straight away back in November, and since Christmas we've been trying to negotiate around some of those additional conditions that AV and the government were seeking. We are making progress on those discussions. I can't go into specifics about that, but I can assure you there is progress being made, and we're hopeful that in coming weeks, whatever that may mean, but coming weeks, that we'll be able to bring a position out to you for consideration in regard to a settlement to this dispute. We've had 10 meetings, as I've said, in the Commission. We've got another one scheduled on Friday the 23rd of May. Again, we're hopeful that we can make some further progress to be able to bring out to you, maybe not after the 23rd of May, but certainly hopefully within the next month or so, that there is a basis for settlement or an outcome that you guys can consider as an outcome that may or may not be satisfactory, and again, the decision is yours. The union will try and negotiate an outcome that we believe is a position that we can bring back to you. If we don't believe it's a position that's good enough, then we certainly won't even bother bringing it back. But certainly if we can get it to a position that we think's a reasonable position for our members to consider, then that's what we'll do. The other thing was that you'll be aware that we did have a ban in place where AV were threatening to take us to the federal court, which they did take us to the federal court, I should say, regarding the observers, the media observers and politicians being placed on or being invited onto the ambulances. That ban has been withdrawn on the basis of the progress in the negotiations, and also AV have withdrawn their federal court proceedings against the union. So that's just to bring you up to date with that. And in recent weeks, in this week, there's been those additional bans that were to be put in place as of last Tuesday morning, which was to commence at 7 o'clock on the 13th of May. We had to withdraw those bans again because unfortunately we were outside of the 30-day time frame, which is a legal requirement to implement those bans. We were outside the 30-day requirement by 1 day. What we will do now, given that we've withdrawn those bans, we will look at running another protected action ballot with the inclusion of those bans, and we'll consider some other additional bans to be included in another protected action ballot, and we'll keep the members informed within the next few weeks. Finally, just to let you know that the reason why there's been movement from government and Ambulance Victoria is clearly because of your efforts as a collective of the membership in wearing the code red T-shirts and the code red stickers and the writing on the trucks and the industrial bans that are in place right now. So we just advise you that to continue to do that and keep that pressure on, keep the stories coming through to us or the information coming through to the union. Members that wish to talk to the press, if they haven't got a local press member to talk to, come and contact us and we'll organise one for you. Keep getting your stories out there, because that is the issue that's making the government and Ambulance Victoria move their position at the moment in the negotiations. And of course, it's an election year. Every day that goes past, the government become more vulnerable as we get closer to an election, in particular on health and ambulance issues. And we will keep the pressure on until we get a proper and fair outcome for you in this wage dispute. I think that's all for now. Hopefully we'll try and get a further podcast to you in a shorter period of time than what it's taken to get this one to you. And we'll try and keep you updated as best we can with the limitations that we have on us about what sort of details that we can provide to you. If you've got any concerns, give the union office a call, give Danny or myself a call on our mobiles, and we'll try and keep everyone up to date. Thanks for that.